Hello everyone, how are you? I am just making this video because I wanted to just completely film this and get the whole story out of what happened to us. So, and then I could have done it live, but you know, live somebody signs on, someone's there for the whole story, someone else shows up halfway through and then asks questions, and then someone else shows up at the end, and then it's like you've got to tell the whole thing. Although I always feel like I want to tell the whole story all over again, or I have to tell that person to say, sorry, you've got to see it from the beginning, and whatever. So I wanted to tell the story about what happened to us with our washing machine, with all the things that had happened to us prior to that. But, you know, knowing, if you know us and you care for us and when you hear the story, you won't be able to believe the amount of stress that just moving and moving into a new place and for us to finally feel like, okay, we're starting fresh and new fresh start, and then to have another thing go wrong was just like outrageous. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you how it's been resolved. It now has gotten resolved, thank God. But you know, I'm going to tell you this because we're not the only one this happens to, okay? We're not the only one. It's a combination of customer service, okay, lack thereof, customer service in terms of knowledge, and customer service in terms of where people are doing shady things behind the scenes, customer service in terms of uneducated people working in stores. There's a lot of general information that people learn in stores and in training in retail and hardware stores and big box stores and whatever. But there really needs to be more training in general. And so that this is kind of like a PSA to be aware that the people that you talk to in these stores are not going to be aware of what you might not be aware of what you need. And as well as I'm going to be explaining what we went through and how all of the hoops we had to jump through just to get, and you can see laundry baskets behind me, just to be able to get the machine in the house hooked up and working and just to be able to do laundry, okay? Because when you buy a house, you don't have a clue. There's going to be things that come up that you just don't know, okay? There'll be things that you might not realize, you know, whether you're renting or owning, or you might be renting a condo, someone else might own, you might be renting directly from the condo, a person owns a condo, you might be renting from a management company, an apartment complex, or you might be, you know, a whole big thing. Might be renting a home and you move into that home and you don't know, okay? So, first thing is, I'm going to say that, you know, in the home buying process, okay, this was, and I'm going to, 1, 2, 3, 4. This was my 4th time buying a home, okay? I had owned 2 homes with my first husband, a small home that was a fixer-upper, the washer and dryer were in the basement. That house needed all new appliances, and it was, you know, even needed the kitchen redone, a whole bunch of things. I was basically the go-to person that worked with the contractors and, you know, and dealt with the contractors, picking out all the, you know, all of what they needed, you know, and we had a deal where if we bought the materials, they would do the work. So I felt like, you know, so then the next time we sold that house 7 years later, fixed it all up, had, you know, then the market was great. We were able to flip it, make a lot of money at the time because that neighborhood had increased so much in value in addition to all the improvements. And we were just ready for a different space. And then we moved into a newer space and then lived there for a couple of years. And in that space, also bought a washer and dryer and all new appliances in that home at that time. And that was, you know, I'm talking about the first house was 97, and we lived there to 2004. The second house, I lived from 2004 to 2006. Never had any problems with getting appliances put in, never had any problems with, hookups or any kind of issues or any kind of special parts. And of course, back then, Sears was in business, and Sears had great appliances, and Sears had great customer service. Okay, we all know what happened to many big box stores after, I'd say after 2009, after 2008, 2009, after the recession. Not only were businesses affected and small businesses affected, but somehow, and I'm just going to say this because many of us remember, if you're younger, in your 20s or early 30s, you might not know because you might not remember. You might remember 10, 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, maybe you were little, all you know is suddenly you got a new fridge and, or something broke and your mom called somebody and they got someone to fix it. That's all you know. But those of us who were around a long time, we remember how you could call repair people that were reliable. You could get good customer service from the company if you bought it from Sears or Mercury Rewards or some of these companies that had good, reliable customer service, good, reliable repair people. You didn't have the runaround of problems, okay, of buying things online. Now, even though they say it seems so easy buying certain things online, some things now, since that time period, since the 2008, 2009 time period, I have experienced nothing but problems from customer service people. It's been rare that the right hand knows what the left hand is doing in everything from doctor's offices to insurance companies to appliance companies, to big box stores, to department stores, even sometimes in many small businesses too. It's been rare that I have, if I'm ordering something and I want something and it comes through and everything's fine. For the most part, small businesses, for the most part, have less of those problems because you still have the owner communicating to employees of what their needs are and what's going on, and it's a very small chain of communication. But there still can be the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing some of the time, okay? And sometimes in doctor's offices, sometimes it's within calling a certain the health insurance company. Sometimes it can be so many things, and I've run into this over and over and over and over again. And it used to be so much smoother. I can't even go into how much smoother it used to be. Okay, so the reason why I'm telling you this background, because I have experience of time when things were run smoother, okay? I'm not crazy. I just can remember. And those of you who are of a certain age will remember these times too, okay? You will remember that you would order things or you would call somebody and you could get somebody on the phone. They knew what you needed. They could look you up easy. There was a good line of communication. There wasn't some big thing and you weren't getting transferred to this department and that department and getting this answer and getting that answer and still not getting the answer that you sought, right? Now, over the years, some companies have after so many complaints, have gotten better, okay? Some of these big companies. I'll say Comcast is one of them that's gotten better. And AT&T has gotten better. Some of them have gotten better and improved. Verizon has improved. Different things have improved. But then there are other ones that have just completely, in some areas, have just completely fallen apart. So keep that in mind. Okay, so, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story from the last time. It was a year and a half ago. My current husband and I, the second husband, we bought a condo in 2017. There were two things that needed to be replaced: the windows and the washing machine. In 2019, the summer of 2019, I went online, and I compared prices. Bought I'm looking for, at that time, the space only was for a stackable washing machine It was, we lived in Gaithersburg. I called the I saw the best price for the space of comparing from Home Depot to Lowe's to all various companies online. The closest one was Lowe's in Gaithersburg, which was less than 10 minutes away from our condo. I ordered it. It said a delivery date, and then and a window of time was supposed to be delivered. When you know that delivery date, and then of course you've got laundry piling up because the washing machine at that time had just finally died. We had done as many repairs and finally got to a point where we may as well just buy a new setup. And of course, because it's stackable, they have to be attached. You can't just buy the washer and not buy the dryer. Okay, so the date of delivery comes up, and they never show up. I call and they go, "Oh, sorry for whatever, we didn't have it in stock." Well, why did I get this delivery date then if it wasn't in stock? Why didn't someone call me so I wasn't waiting around? And this was a week and a half before I was supposed to go out of town on a trip. And meanwhile, more clothes are piling up. Okay, so they say, "Oh, okay, well, you're going to get another delivery date, and it's going to be in another week." Okay, and I had to wait another week, and then at that, and another window of time, and then within that window of time, then the guy calls me and says, "I'm running late. I'm in traffic." I'll never forget. It was a pouring down, rainy, horrible day. It was a day before I was supposed to leave. The guy shows up, and then when he shows up, ends up being an hour late in traffic, and he says, "Gee, why didn't you get this from the Gaithersburg store?" And I said, "I thought I did." And they said, "Oh, no, this machine, this stackable machine," he's, it's fine, everything's fine. Because this stackable machine came from the Sterling, Virginia store. Now, anyone who lives in the D.C. area knows that Gaithersburg is way up here, and Sterling, Virginia is way down here, and it's like an hour and a half away. And I was like, "I did not order from the Sterling, Virginia store. I ordered from the Gaithersburg store." And he said, "Well, they told me it wasn't in at Gaithersburg, and I had to wait an extra week." And he just was like, "They don't know what they're doing." Okay, so whatever happened in one time in a 2-week period was the right hand didn't know. Here he's saying that they didn't know what they're doing. And meanwhile, I'm the consumer, and meanwhile, I still needed my washing machine. Thank God it came, but it was an extra 2 weeks. Okay, so that was that. They hooked it up. Everything worked fine. Everything was great. Okay, it didn't matter that 2 weeks of my life of waiting around were wasted, and that as a consumer, there was all those miscommunications. Okay, and I didn't, at that point, I have one day before I'm going away, I just do laundry, everything works fine, that's fine. Okay, fast forward to it now. We decided that we wanted to sell that condo, and of course, the washers and the appliances stay with the place, okay, and it just as well, because the new place we're in, we don't have room for a stackable. It's the washer and dryer on the second floor, side by side, full size, okay. I spent 3 months looking for a new home. We decided to sell our condo over probably around the fall. It became official. I was ready to sell in the summer, but my husband had needed time to kind of come around. So then, I spent about the whole fall looking at places, looking at various townhomes, looking at different places. This place was one of the I'd say maybe the third or fourth ones I saw. And it came to my mind, but I loved it. I loved the space. I thought Patrick might like it, but at the same time, I thought, well, it's something about the design is a little girly, or I don't know. I wasn't sure. So we kept looking at other places, kept looking at other places. This place was still available. There was one day that we were looking at all these different places. He and I were available because sometimes he wasn't available. A lot of times I was going and looking on my own. Sometimes he and I were together. And then there was one day that he and I both were up in this area looking at different places. We started one spot, looked at that place. Nope, it's not right. Went to another place. It was great, but the cost was the condo fee and everything to combine was a little too much. And I said, well, there's one more place. Let's go check it out. And they're having an open house, actually. So we came here. We came to this place, and I took him here, and I really loved it, and he really loved it, and he saw why I really loved it, and everything was great, and he was like, yeah, this is it, this is it. And when we were sitting there talking with, at that time, the guy that was selling the place was also the realtor doing the open house, which, who knows, sometimes I would think that would be a conflict of interest, but, that's how it was, okay? That was the situation. So everything seemed great. We, went through, said, got through all the, talked to our agent, said, this is it, this, what do we do to go forward? Got everything together, got the contract together, got everything. And then it came time for the inspection. When we had the inspection here, there were lots of we had a really great inspector. We had, there were a lot of little things. It was, no place is perfect. No home is going to ever be, everything is top notch. Because even a brand new place that might be built in a hurry, they might forget some little thing. There might be an end of some little pipe or some little light switch, or there was some little thing, or the fire alarms, or something might be a little off that might need something, okay? So that's a little tip for you if you're, buying your first home, okay, or even buying any home. These are important things. So when he came to the washer and dryer, the inspector, he saw that we turned on the washing machine. They always turn on the washing machine, and the washing machine worked okay. And he saw that when he turned on the dryer, but then opened the door, he opened the door, the dryer was still going, okay, which is technically a bad thing because you want the dryer to stop, right? Because you want it to slow down and stop so you can pull your clothes out. So he noticed that and made note of that, and that's something that needed to be repaired, okay? So took a picture of the inside of the dryer, and that was, okay, so that was the main focal point, because at that point, the washing machine worked just fine, okay? So, and then there were a lot of other things, and, we had a lot of other things going on with us in the next month and a half from that inspection until, time for us to do our walkthrough here. Now, what the walkthrough is where where you, your agent, walk through to make sure all of those things that were on the inspection, and then when the inspector goes through, they do a written report, they put it in writing, they take pictures. So when you do the walkthrough, it's to see that everything that was in that inspection got finished and got taken care of, right? So we did our walkthrough. As we were doing the walkthrough, we opened up the doors to the washer and dryer, and we opened it up, and I just checked. Let's turn on. Let's open up the dryer. Let's see if it'll stop. Yep, it stopped. But then the first thing, even our agent said, "That's kind of funny. Why is the cord like this?" Of the washing machine. I was like, and it was like the washing machine was unplugged, and the cord was wrapped around. Let's see, if I have anything that I could demonstrate how the cord was wrapped around. It was as if, okay, let me just take this. Okay, here's a cord to this lamp here. Okay, so it was as if you have, let's say, it wasn't even like it had been ever plugged in, okay? The cord was like this, wrapped up like this, with like a band around it, okay? So that was like very odd to me, considering at that point I remembered that our inspector had just gone on, turn on the machine, right? He didn't have to plug in that washing machine to turn it on when he did the inspection. And I'm thinking, why would that be that way? Of course, now in hindsight, I can say, why would that be that way? But at that moment, all we were doing was we weren't concerned with the washing machine. We weren't concerned why it was unplugged and why the cord was like that, okay? We're walking through, we're kind of checking things out, making sure this is done, and then we went into the bathroom, and there were certain things, there were little glitches, like for some reason, I guess they had been touching up the paint in the bathroom, and the mirror had slid from these little hinges things, so we were we walked into that, and weren't even thinking about why that cord was all wrapped up like that, okay? To me, now, it kind of makes me, of course, now that in hindsight, what I'm going to tell you next, okay, so there's that. Okay, so that was a very big detail. That was a red flag for us to have known, caught. But we didn't catch it because, like I said, it worked just fine at inspection, okay? So we were we worried about that mirror. We look at these other things. We make sure that these other things that were on the list were taken care of. Yes, they were. There were a couple of other things that still had yet to be done. But closing was going to be in 2 days, and we were like, yeah, those things are going to get done. And the guy who kind of worked for the guy who was selling the home, he was here, in the space with us while this was going on. And he was taking care of some things while we were even here, So I felt in full confidence that things were getting done. I didn't feel like there was anything really shady going on. I didn't feel like there was any kind of problem, So, next thing you know, we go to closing, that Friday, which is Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, we go to close in both places. Our buyer buys our last place. She's really happy with her new home. We're really happy with her buying our new home, our last home. We're happy with buying our new home. We're excited. My in-laws help us move in a lot of the small stuff and small boxes. Then on the next day, Saturday, we had the movers come to our old place, pack us up, move all of our heavy furniture and all of our heavy boxes here. Then move us in. Now keep in mind that last week, we had a lot going on and packing and a lot of things, and Patrick likes to do his own ironing. Okay, so he usually likes, if there's all the clothes are clean at the same time, he likes to be able to do his ironing, but we couldn't he couldn't set up the ironing board because our old place was small, it was full of boxes at that point. So it was like, don't worry about the laundry. As soon as we move into the new place, I'll do the laundry, and then you can do your ironing that weekend, and it'll be fine. We're gonna have a great, they fixed the dryer, everything's fine. Okay, so the Saturday night, the 14th of March, we were all settled in, we're unpacking, starting to unpack, just kind of getting used to, like, hey, we're actually here, So, we're so tired, unpacking, and what do? I go to throw in a load of laundry, and lo and behold, that washing machine is still unplugged, okay? With the cord still wrapped up in that tight position. And so what do? I undo that, whatever it was, that tie or whatever, and I go and I plug in the washing machine. The first thing that happens is when I plug it in, is the water starts running. I'm like to fill the thing. I'm like, that's really odd. Like, why would that happen? Usually you plug it in, and until you put it on a setting and hit start, the water isn't supposed to be running. Okay. Second red flag. So then I thought, okay, well, whatever. At that point, I was like in that whatever kind of mood. I was like, let me just set it to the right thing. Throw in some clothes. These clothes need to be washed. I'll just put these clothes on and in the machine and hit wash, and it should be fine. Because at that point I was so exhausted. We'd had weeks of stress leading up to the move, weeks of things that happened to us up until that point. Just wanted to, start getting the clothes clean, right? Just starting to get the clothes clean. Okay, so I put them in, and then well, about a half hour, 45 minutes later, those clothes successfully washed. I put them in the dryer. The dryer's going just fine. I throw another load in, okay? At that point, it did stop and everything was fine. So, I put the clothes in and then, hit start and set it on that next load setting and everything's fine. It was midnight at that point. We're so exhausted. We go upstairs to bed because the master bedroom's on the third floor. Go upstairs to bed, sound asleep. Something wakes me up, 3 a.m., okay? Maybe more like 2:30, 45, 2:45, almost nearly 3 a.m. I hear this sound, and I was like, what's that sound? And it was like, and it was the washing machine was still going, was still on wash, okay? Was that sound? It was still on wash. I'm like, this is really, really weird, okay? This is crazy. I jump out of bed. Of course, the husband's sound asleep, dog sound asleep. This is like really crazy. So I run down to the second floor. I check on the thing. Dryer, of course, the clothes dried just fine, but the washing machine, that second load, was still on wash. And I go to hit the dial, and it wouldn't set on anything. It wouldn't roll to rinse. It wouldn't go to spin. It wouldn't go to anything. It just kept washing. And, I'm at that point, I'm so tired. I can't even think straight. All I can do is, okay, and I just thought, I'm just going to unplug it. I just have to worry about it tomorrow, okay? So, I unplug it because at that point I couldn't do any more. I'm not a washing machine repair person. I don't know, and who am I going to call? It's not worth waking him up over. So I unplug the machine. I just say unplug it. I can't do it anymore. So then I go back up to bed. Then I get up early, and then I plug it back in just to test. And what's it do? It just goes same thing. Just keeps back in the wash cycle. Meanwhile, the thing's full of water. Okay, so then I wait until Patrick gets up, and then I tell him, I said, something's going on with the washing machine. He's like, what do you think? And I said, I don't know. So then at that point, I just knew something was up with that machine. At that point, I put two and two together. I was like, this is not the same machine that was here at inspection. Now, that's very hard to prove, right? So I message the real estate agent, and I said, can you ask the inspector if he has any pictures of what the washing machine looked like at inspection? And she goes, well, I don't think he took any pictures of that because there wasn't any problem with it. Okay, but and she goes, is it a matched set of brands? I said, no, the washer is Whirlpool and the dryer is Kenmore. Okay, so she goes, what's the problem? I said, well, there's a problem with the washing machine. Okay, so she says, he wrote down washing machine is Kenmore and the dryer is Whirlpool. She goes, but I think he just flipped them. And I said, so basically we have no proof that this is a different washing machine than at the time of inspection. She said, that's right. And I said, okay, well, now what do we do? And she goes, well, I actually know a guy. And of course, real estate agents are full of people they know good. She's known good electricians that she recommends, or plumbers, or, people that they use, that they recommend, or when they're trying to fix up a spot to rent, to sell or something like that. So, okay, it was like, okay, so, but of course, if this was right when everybody was saying there's going to be, this disease, everybody's going to can't be out, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. And it was like, oh my God. Okay, so I call that guy. So apparently this guy was not responding to text messages. So she sent him a text. She says, okay, I'm waiting to hear back. All that day, I'm freaking out. Like, oh my God, we're going to have to buy a washing machine after we just bought this home. And so then it was like a day later, we didn't hear back from her. I'm like, have you heard back from him? You heard back from him? No, haven't heard back from him. Okay. So, and I said, well, what's his number? So finally, Monday night, I finally am able to get through to him on the phone. I leave a message, and then he calls me right back. He calls within 10-15 minutes, so he's just not a texter. Okay. And some of these handyman types aren't, and some are more into texting than they are calling back. I mean, it's mixed bag out in the world. I don't make the world, I'm just telling you my experiences with it. The frustration of waiting to hear back from people, sometimes from a text or a phone call. When all someone could do was write one sentence back. I'll call you later. Okay, even that, the frustration in that is waiting to hear from a service provider is insanity. So when he calls me back, he says, "Okay, let me ask you some questions about the machine. Instead of me coming over there and charging you the money for a call for me to come over, let's just do it over the phone." Okay, so we actually have this just phone consultation. He asked me the make, model of the machine. Try this. When you do this, when you plug this in, you do this. When you turn this knob, you do this. Blah 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 blah. What about this? Da 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 da. Okay, all these questions. And okay, so then he determines that he just says, well, that machine is fried. He said, in the cost that it would take me to come over, order a part, the parts that you're going to need, and fix that machine, you may as well buy a new machine. And I was like, okay. So I went online again. I thought, I'm not going to use Lowe's again after the experience I had a year ago. I'm not going to go through that and have that mix up, okay? I'll try Home Depot because Sears isn't around anymore, and, okay, who's left? Best Buy, maybe, who's left, and who has, and... Okay, so I put in washing machine and start reading. I start Googling, I start researching. This is all taking time away from packing, me being able to find my clothes, moving into a new home when we still, now, nearly 3 weeks later, still haven't even figured out the thermostat. It was really freezing cold. I hadn't been able to find my clothes, most of my clothes. Basically had a towel wrapped around me like a skirt. And more dirty laundry piling up, okay? So, so find the Google the washing machines, try to find the least expensive, and then I said to my husband, I said, look, I can order it just blindly online, but I'd rather go into the store. And of course, at this point, you're trying to limit the time you're in stores. But, and he hates going to stores, okay? He'd rather just sit in the car and read than have me then go in with me, okay? Because it's so much aggravation. Okay, so I go into the Home Depot, a local Home Depot here in Germantown. I go into the store and I look at different things and I try out the size. Now, the one that broke was actually a little high for me. I'm only 4'11", so reaching down in can be a problem. Most front loader machines are much more expensive, so I was looking for a shorter machine that I can reach in the clothes, because usually I'm the one that's doing more of the clothes, doing the laundry. So I was able to find a machine. Luckily, it was one of the cheaper models in Amana. And I said, hey, trying to find someone, trying to flag down someone, of course, trying to find the person. Is this your door? Oh, no, that's not my department, blah, 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 blah. Okay, whose department is it? Okay, let me find the girl whose department it is. Okay, so then they flag her down. I talk to her, da-da-da-da-da. How soon can it be delivered? Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so then she, and then I tell, you sure you don't want to get the dryer? No, I don't need the matching dryer, Okay, so we go sit down. She goes, actually, this isn't even my area. I'm actually more in the kitchen appliances and the kitchen cabinet, contracting and all this kind of, rebuilding, remodeling, all that kind of stuff. So, but, she was able to pull it up on the computer, but it said at that point here, it's March 15th, around the 15th, 16th, it said... was supposed to be delivered. It's in stock there at the store, and I could take it away, but I don't own a truck, and my husband doesn't own a truck. The time to rent a truck and hook it up, and then pull it up ourselves. We're not those, we're not the kind of people that are gonna come and hook it, get the parts and know what we're doing. We're not gonna play that, okay? So then it's like, okay, to be delivered from what's in the store, they said, oh, well, it's really not according to their computer, it's really not in the store, only unless you're going to take it off, but for it to be delivered and hooked up and haul the old one away, they might be able to do it on the 21st. But then again, their computer was saying April 1st, which would be more time, okay? There'll be another 2 weeks. And I said, are you sure? And so then she even calls over her, right then a supervisor's walking by. She goes, oh, he's the supervisor. Let me get his opinion. So he comes over. She goes, hey, and flags him over. And she says, it says this, da-da-da-da-da, and all this. And he goes, well, why don't you just buy it online? Since you now know what make and model you want. And why don't you, and I said, during the conversation, I know I said it's on the second floor. The washer and dryer's on the second floor, and it's a townhouse because I was trying to discuss like who's going to haul it away, who's going to haul away the old one, and if you're taking it home from the floor models or what's in stock there, you have to be able to be the one to not only lug the new thing up the steps, but then you have to be the one to lug the old one down the steps and then put it on a truck and then figure out what you're going to do with the old one, right? Okay, so and they were saying, okay, this is the best bet is to set it up online, and at that point they didn't tell me anything that, as I was explaining that situation about pulling it up and dragging the old one down, that sometimes homes on the second floor have different kinds of pipes set up than the ones on the first floor, okay, to consider. As well as, they didn't say, oh, and by the way, Montgomery County law or Maryland law or gives some special rules about washers and dryers on the second floor. They did not even say that, okay? That is something I learned a little later on, which I'm going to tell you next. But anyway, they didn't say that. So keep that in mind, okay? So it was just like, oh, why don't you just order it online? Yeah, online it says it'll be available on the 21st. It'll be available on the 21st. It was like, okay, well then I'll just do it online then. I felt like saying, well, what good are you guys, Okay, so then I go home. I now know the make and model, what I want to order. I order it online. Now, let me just tell you what it was, okay? It was a $398 washing machine, okay, $398 washing machine, plus extra for the parts for the installation, okay, and the cost of hauling it away. So it's a free delivery, but the installation, because if you just want to say, oh, I'll install it myself or I'll buy these other parts, okay, they'll drop it off. But if you want it the old one hauled away and then you want it installed with the correct parts, then there's more plus taxes, okay? So it ended up a total at that point being $543.67, okay? That was, and it was going to come on the 21st. So I say to my husband, okay, I ordered it. It says it's going to come on the 21st. Everything should be fine. At least we've got one more week. We think we've got, we've got one, we're unpacking. We're finding our clothes now. We think we've got enough clothes to last another week, okay? And then meanwhile, I said, but we've got a problem on our hands. We have an issue they will not haul away a machine full of water. Okay, we have to. At this point, we're like we've still got these wet clothes are sitting in the washing machine. Okay, so we take those wet clothes out. I wring them out the best I can. I put them in some big plastic like trash bags. I hold a pail of water, hold a pail for the water, and then Patrick is taking like a cup and just taking the water and dumping it out to bail out this washing machine, because then at that point the clothes had been sitting there from Saturday night, Sunday, and at that point Monday. Okay, and it was just and I said, well, why don't we Tuesday, why don't we go to a laundromat and then wash everything, because at that point we had maybe a week and a half's worth of clothes, or actually at that point it was like, yeah, a week and a half's worth of clothes, or actually the week before's worth of clothes, and at that point a few more days, but we had all these wet clothes. I was like, well, these wet clothes have to get clean. They have to get clean, or else they're going to smell really moldy. Okay, so we packed up the car, and I knew of a laundromat in downtown, in not downtown Rockville, but further down, I'd say what I call mid-level Rockville, of a good one that I used to use, a long time ago, 10 years ago, whatever. Well, and I should have called, and we had ridden by it and seen that it's been there. It was there just recently, but of course the sign is still there. So we get there, the sign's still there, but the place had gone out of business. It's now empty. Okay, but they just hadn't taken down the sign yet. And it was just like, oh no. Okay, so then I had to look up another one. And I had been reading reviews of different laundromats at this point, and some were like, people were like, oh, this one, you lose money. This one, your clothes never get clean. And this one's this. Okay, so I said, okay, let's find the lesser of two evils. Here's one that we have to get quarters for. Okay, well, what's happening? That because of the COVID-19 virus, we go to a bank to get quarters, and I just want to run in and get a roll of quarters. No, you can't run in because it's a drive-through, and there's a line of cars, like a 45-minute line of cars to go through the drive-through at that bank. And it was just like, oh my God, what does it take to just be able to go get a roll of quarters, go to the laundromat, wash these clothes? And he was like, screw it, we'll just wait till the washer comes on Saturday, okay, on the 21st. So the 21st rolls around, and the delivery, and it was supposed to be a window from 3 to 5. Okay, 3 to 5. So you wait around all day Saturday, 3 to 5. 3 to 5. The guy shows up. I think it was pretty prompt. Maybe like 3:30 or 4, something like that. Not too bad. Shows up and he says, okay, so where am I putting it? And I show him. I take him upstairs to the second floor. He takes his flashlight and he goes, I can't deliver this machine. And I was like, what? What do you mean you can't deliver this machine? And he says, well, you got a PVC pipe coming at a perpendicular angle. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? And he said, he said, by law, I can't haul away the old machine until there's a drain pipe properly placed with that PVC pipe to put the new machine. And I said, well, Home Depot. I said, you work for Home Depot. Go get the pan. Go get what you need. He's like, I don't work for Home Depot. I was like, oh, are you a contractor hired? Your company's you work for a company that's contracted by Home Depot he said, yeah, we make deliveries for Home Depot. And I was like, so what are we supposed to do? She's like, well, you have to buy the pan. And he said, I can't haul away that machine and put this new machine there unless the pan is there. And I was like, he was like, well, you can call. He's like, well, you can just go back to the store, go back to Home Depot. You can get a drain pan for $22. He drew this diagram right here. Okay, this is where the pipe comes in. This is how the pan is. He said, this is the size pan you need. Okay, this is the size pan you need. And at that point, I'm at my wit's end. I'm like, oh my God. So then the first thing I do was I message back the real estate agent. I say to her, what do we have to do to get this? I said, what do we have to do to get this set up? She's, I said, he says I need a plumber, I need a drain pan, I need this. So she goes, okay, I know a good plumber. Da 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 da. Okay, so I call them. They say, sorry, we don't move machines. You're a plumber, you don't move machines. What if you're supposed to handle a pipe that's behind a machine? Oh, suddenly it's not their job either. Okay. So so then I was like, okay, well, I've got a coupon for Roto-Rooter, so let me call Roto-Rooter. Sorry, we don't move machines. Same thing. We don't move machines. We don't handle pipes. We don't those kind of pipes. We don't this or this. News to me. Okay. So then then that woman at least said call a handyman service. Now why plumbers who it's supposed to be their domain, having me call a handyman service is beyond me, but that's what I did. So luckily I know a handyman service that's very good. I can't believe I'm almost talking for an hour and I haven't even gotten to the nitty gritty of it all, the wackiness of it all. So I call a handyman service that we know that's good, that we use many times, but they have a $200 minimum, okay? And I do know that, and luckily they just sent a St. Patty's Day coupon, okay? Good for a week after St. Patty's Day. So, I called them up and they say, okay, it's going to be a $200 minimum. I said, or you just have to go get the drain pan. And okay. And I'm like, okay, I'll get the drain pan, go back to Home Depot. I'll go back to Home Depot, get the drain pan. We set it up with that guy, with that handyman service, and we think everything's fine. Okay. So what do? We go to, so we go back to the to the local Home Depot, back to the Germantown Home Depot. Luckily, there was two really, really nice ladies that were there helping me. But they were like, well, and I said that I need 30 by 30. And I wasn't even thinking about the hole here, really, at that point. Okay, all I was thinking about was the size. And all they had were like 29 by 27s in one aisle, and then they had a 30 by 32 in another, a 30 by 36 in a certain aisle. And luckily I had measured the space in in where the washing machine was supposed to go, and I knew that we could go out a certain way and we couldn't go widthwise because the dryer is there and the whole bit. Okay, so I knew what we needed. Okay, what I thought. Okay, so then she's like, these two ladies were trying to help me because they were like, we can't believe that they didn't do this, and actually we had heard this from somebody else who had a complaint where the washing machine was supposed to come and be delivered, and they were getting complaints that that they couldn't get their machine delivered and they were upset. Okay. Well, okay, then if this happens enough, then this should be something that people are aware of and are being told about at time of purchase. Okay, but they're like, okay, well, we've got these drain pans, but you'd have to special order them. They won't come for 2 weeks. I said, no, I need it by Saturday. That's when the guy's supposed to deliver the machine. Okay, so at that point, the delivery of the washer they're like, when the guy came and he's like, you need this drain pan and everything, he said it wasn't going to be put off until the 27th. And it was like, oh my God, more time wasted. So then they were like, no, but the Gaithersburg store has a 30 by 32. And I was like, okay, well, let's do that. So then, of course, at that point, we're tired. We're still unpacking. We've been moving furniture around. We're doing this. So I have to set up with my husband when we can go back down to the other store, which is 20 minutes away, go there. And once again, walking through the store, their layout's different, asking where are the drain pans, where's this? Of course, they had the 2729, not the one we need, and then the only one they had was just a 30 by 32. We buy it, $30 for it, okay? Not just $22, it's $30, and then $31 plus tax. And buy it, and I think, okay, then in time for the handyman guy to come the next day. So then the handyman guy comes the next day, and let him in, and show him where it is, and then he goes, I can't move this machine. I can't use this drain pan. I can't. I'm like, what's wrong now? I'm thinking, what's wrong now? And he goes, this drain pan's totally wrong for the space. I'm like, what? He's like, you need one where the pipe comes this way, and of course the 30 by 32 was coming from the other. It was coming from the bottom. The hole was at the bottom. It was actually like here, okay, and not coming from this. It needed to be from the side of the pan, okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. I was beside myself. Okay. I said, where are we supposed to find the pan? What are we supposed to do? And he says, try a plumbing supply company. Now, at one point, I had known about when that washing machine had died in our old place before we had gotten that new machine and that whole mix-up with Lowe's. Up until that point, there had been a couple of times where the knobs had been messed up or whatever, and I had to replace a knob and a couple of other parts, and I knew of this washing machine and plumbing. They were right next to each other within the same block, a plumbing repair company, a plumbing supply company, and a washing machine part supply company, all in this industrial area. So I had known of that. So I said, okay, I think I know where that is. So I Googled them, looked on the map, saw that's exactly where they are. These are the two names of the places. Called one place. They didn't have it. Called the other place. The guy said, no, I don't know anything what you're talking about. Okay, I was like beside myself. I was beside myself. What am I supposed to do? Even the plumbing company didn't know what I was talking about. And I'm like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. So then at that point I called my father-in-law, Patrick's dad, who's one of Patrick's uncle. His brother is a master plumber. So I said, this is something we're looking for. Does he know anything about this, or have you any knowledge of this? And he said, well, you might want to call your HOA and see what's going on, what other problems the people have had when they move in the space. If there's a county law that you can't have to have this special thing, then they should have been letting you know this at the store, okay? As well as, then that should be a part that comes with the machine, in the first place. And then again, every house is different. They're not going to know. But, this is something that should be, even when you buy something online, there should be something that says, if you're extra parts if your home is on the second floor, depending on your county and state laws. There should be just some little blurb, okay? Some little thing to let people know that you might have some extra things to think about or some extra things to be aware of. Okay, so then I, just out of the blue, I thought, I'm just going to Google 30 by 30 drain pan with a side hole. And that's just what I put in Google. Wouldn't you know, somebody in Pennsylvania was selling two of them, and they had an official name, okay? And the official name was, where is it? I had it written down. Here it is. The official name of what I was looking for was called a Diver's Tech Plastic Condensate Drain Pan. That's what it was. But it's like a hard. It was more than a plastic. It was actually like almost steel. And that's what it was called. Okay, so luckily I had a name. So what did I do? I took that, and I was like, we're not going to drive to Pennsylvania, but I had that name. So I called that plumbing company back, the one that said that we don't know anything about that. I don't even, okay? Called that plumbing company back, and I said, do you all carry a Diver's Tech plastic condensate drain pan? And I had, because of what that person had in that ad that was selling them in Pennsylvania, they had an actual number, okay, a model number that looked pretty much like this diagram, okay? And they said, yes, actually we don't have them in here at the store, but we can get them from the warehouse for you. Okay, so, and it would be for it to be delivered. I said, how soon can it be delivered? Oh, in a day and a half. Okay, just in a couple of days. I said, oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. I need it by Saturday. Okay, great. It'll be $51.20. Okay, now keep in mind, when that handyman guy came, he didn't charge me because he couldn't do anything. Okay, so thank God for that. So then I had to take back the drain pan that we bought at Home Depot that the guy said, that's the wrong size drain pan, it's the wrong size hole, whatever. So luckily I was able to get my money back for that drain pan, okay? And this is the first receipt that I bought, and then the receipt that's saying that I got it back. Then, and then the guy said, okay, it'll be $51.20. Okay, so the drain pan did arrive, okay? The drain pan arrived in, a big box, and it arrived, and I was like, okay, great, we got the pan. All right, now I can call the handyman service back and say, hi, this is Marilyn. We need, we've got the right drain pan. We think we've got the right drain pan. Can the guy come, can one of your guys come back and set up the drain pan and move the machine? And she's like, well, yes. And I said, but when the last guy came, he did not know that it was in the notes that he was supposed to move the machine. And you all had told me, yes, we moved the machine and we can hook up the drain pan for you. But for whatever reason, it wasn't in the notes. And that was another thing that the guy, he's like, I'm not charging you because can't move this machine by myself. Oh, listen to the dryer going, can't move the machine by myself, and you don't have the right pan. So here, now I'm calling, I've got the right size pan, and they go, okay, well, it's going to be an extra $150 for the second guy to come. For two guys to come. So it's going to be a total of $300 for two guys to come and move that washer out of the way and hook up the drain pan and just get things set up and I said, well, I have a $30 off coupon that you all sent me for St. Patty's Day. Can I use that when they show up? Yes, that's fine. So but at that point, that was Thursday, okay? So of that week, of the last week of March. So then the two guys, then that they show up. I said, we had to wait another day to set it up. So then they show up, and then they come. They both guys. And of course, was it in the notes? No. All of a sudden they start moving the dryer. I'm like, it's not the dryer, it's the washing machine. This washing machine, okay. Oh, we want to move, and they put it back in. No, that one is the one that's broken. That one is being hauled away on Saturday. Move that out of the way. We need the drain pan to just be by itself. And then they start moving the dryer out of the way. Why are you moving the dryer? Why aren't you getting rid of this too? No, there's nothing wrong with that. I haven't explained. If I had not been aware and paying attention, those guys would have hauled the dryer. They would have moved the dryer out and moved it. I was like, no. All I need is for this to be moved here and this to be moved there. And okay, so it was all set up. Everything's fine. Saturday rolls around. Finally, a different guy shows up from the delivery for the Home Depot, contractor for the Home Depot. We've got the right drain pan, and we've got the and the machine gets in and hooked up, and they haul away the old machine, and then the washing, and then, even then, that guy turned something on just to, and I said, right away, I was like, why is the water running? Because then it makes me very paranoid, because I'm like all freaked out thinking, is there something wrong with this machine? Okay, so then, and then he goes, ma'am, just read the directions, I'm just testing it, blah, 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 and then he's talking to my husband, getting my husband to sign the paper, and next thing you know, then he's out of here. I'm like, what's going on, So, luckily, everything was fine. Everything worked fine with the machine. Everything has been fine since then. But, let me tell you, okay, so the total with the extras of having to hire the handyman service, having to hire the drain pan and shipping, it turned out, what turned out with the shipping was an extra 47, what was it? It was a total, apparently they had made it look when I got this, and I didn't even have receipt because I was like, they did it over the phone when I bought that drain pan from that plumbing supply company. It according to this said it was $98.81. Well, that's one expensive pan to go from $15,120 to $98.81. So, and they didn't tell me that on the phone, and I was kind of upset until, but because what I wanted to do was I had called Home Depot and said we also had to spend out a chunk of money, so we did get the $30 off from the with a $300 for the handyman service. So here it was $543. You can see right here, $543.97 plus the $98.81 drain pan for the drain pan and shipping, $270 for the handyman service for the two guys to come to move the machine, set up the drain pan. It was a total of an extra $368.81. So for one washing machine, for one $398 washing machine, the total aggravation was $912.48. As well as a ton of time and aggravation. Okay, so then I called Home Depot and I said, let me speak to the manager, let me speak to customer service manager, blah, 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 blah. And I got someone's name, and they said, well, ma'am, we can't do anything for you until everything's all worked out. That was what they said. So once the machine got delivered and I knew everything was working fine, I went back to the store, and what was her name? Karen? Oh, Tracy, manager on duty. They said they can't compensate me for any kind of aggravation or time until after the work was completed. Until after the washing machine was in and working, and we, knew everything was okay. Okay, so once the machine was in and working, then we went back to the store this past week. And at that point, they were only letting people in, one or two at a time, and the line's getting longer because more stuff going on with the COVID and everything. And this woman who I spoke with, I said, is Tracy on duty? No, she's not on duty, but this other woman was the manager on duty, and she was able to compensate me. Where is this? When she heard the whole story, she was able to reimburse me a total of, she gave me, was it 194 recall amount. Looked like she was able to give me 194.17 back on my credit card. So 194.17 and 517 recall. Yeah, it looked like she was able to give me $194.17 back. So it was about $200 back on the card. So, at least that was something. So it was a little bit, it paid for the, it may be a little bit more. Now that I'm looking at this receipt, it looks like there's a whole bunch of minuses. It looked like she was able to do something with the numbers and get something back. It looked like there was something more on the Visa, but it says cash, but that was not a, she did not give me that cash. So I'm going to check my credit card, just be on the safe side, to see what actually got put back on it. But, I guess they were trying to figure out how they can give me something back. She said, look, we can't predict with the kinds of things that come up. And I said, well, you know what though? You can, because you can let people know. You can let a consumer know, especially if they tell you that they're on the second floor. And it even says in your notes to put on, like, we don't go any higher than a second or third floor for delivery. And then I specifically put it in the notes. So if it's in the notes, then what should have been done was the contracting company that's going to do deliveries, they see in the notes that it's on the second floor, they call me and they say, hey, you might need this pan. You may have this other problem that's coming up. You may have this problem arise in delivery. You may need this other thing. Be prepared so that when the guy comes, that you'll know what to expect. Okay. Of course, it depends. The size depends on the machine you're getting. It might not. Everybody might need a 30 by 30. Everybody might need a different kind of their pipe coming in at a different hole. But the thing is that if it happens enough, this is something that should either come with the machine, be an option to come with the machine. Also should be something that the people at the store are knowledgeable enough to explain to people when they're asking questions about the machine, so that as a consumer, you're not having to deal with nearly 3 weeks of your life and this much paperwork and time and aggravation in just trying to do laundry, just trying to get your home laundry done, as well as the whole mystery of, was it really switched out or not? We can't prove it. We can't go after the people, those people. I mean, if we had proof of it, we would, but we can't prove it. And, the main thing is we now have a, working washing machine, but it can't be proven. If you don't have the proof that what the washing machine looked like, and I went through the old pictures of when the house was for sale. There wasn't any pictures of the washing machine, and we went through various sorry, there's somebody that's messaging me, and while I'm trying to make this video, and I went through old pictures. There wasn't any pictures of the appliances. There wasn't, the only thing was how the inspector had written down the names, and whether he even said, if I put down it's Kenmore, then it was Kenmore. I believe him, and I do believe that there was something going on with that. It's a little shadiness with the machines, but because we can't prove it, what can I do? But that situation is something to be aware of if you're buying a home. The situation with, how the pipe comes out in your wall, you may need this. If you need to know this as a consumer, be aware that many of the people who are hired, that, in these stores, and sometimes, they don't know. They're not obviously many times are just hired as employees. Even if I was hired today to work at Home Depot, I wouldn't know enough about any particular area to be an expert, to be able to give great advice. That's why I've never applied for a job there. I would think I don't know enough about plumbing or appliances or whatever, but at this point, I feel like I could write a book. So anyway, I know this was long. I know it takes a lot of patience to sit here and listen through all this. But, I wanted to put this out as, yes, this happened to me. This is unbelievable. This is the kind of problems you run into now as a homeowner. It's the kind of problems you run into as a consumer. It's the kind of thing, people ask me, well, why aren't you doing this? Well, you haven't done this yet? No, because we've been running around all over town trying to get a drain pan, trying to get this, all you want to do is be able to get everything together so you could just wash your clothes in your own home, okay? So now everything's done, everything's great, but, I'll never forget it. I don't forget it. I can tell you right now, in my experience with what happened with Lowe's a year ago, I'm telling you exactly now what happened with Home Depot. When one part of this one level and this level and this level and this level and this level, and there's so many disconnects and there's so many different variables, then they shouldn't be in the business of doing that. You know, if these things come up and everything's different, then they should leave these things to the experts they should go back to smaller stores where they sell all the parts right there, and they have their own people to deliver it, and they set it up, and they can come and say, oh, I see, you've got a such and such a thing. Okay, that means when I come to deliver it, you're gonna have the blah 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 blah. You know, and to me, that's the best way to do it. But I know it's very expensive for small businesses to have such big investments with these kinds of machines, and it's a very expensive thing to have delivery guys and to have people. But if it takes people, hiring good people and having things back to at least some semblance of good customer service, you know, we got to get back to it. You know, we just got to get back to it because too much time is being wasted. You know, too much of our time, money, all that stuff. You know, yeah. So it still ended up being $713 for a $398 machine, even with the money they reimbursed me. You know. But now at least we got it in. We got our clothes clean. You know, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that we were in the financial situation that we could spend this extra thing here and spend this extra thing here and spend this extra thing here. But that's only because we made money from the sale of the last place. And we had the time because he's teleworking and I'm home to be traipsing all over the place, you know, buying this and buying that and making the time to call, and all that aggravation is so much. It's so much work and it's so much stress when all you want to do is just unpack and get settled. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, you know, well, I don't know how much you enjoyed hearing hearing this, what happened to me, but I thank you for listening if you've made it this far. And one thing that's really cool is as an Avon rep, we are getting cleaning things in, and we are getting those sheets for getting back to to relate this to my business. We are getting the sheets that will actually have washing detergent sheets that you can use instead of washing laundry soap. So, you know, that's kind of interesting. So that kind of ties it, ties it all in. And I didn't even realize that they were even available. I'd seen that they were going to come sometime, but you know, of course, I've been so busy with our move and this other thing, with this washing machine, I hadn't even been aware that they're now available on my back office, and I can get them, if someone is interested. So, and then they will be coming out soon in the campaign. So anyway, I just wanted to film this and get this out and let people know, be aware of this is the kind of thing. It could happen to you if you move into a new space and you need a washing machine. This could happen. It could happen to you or one of your friends or someone in your family. Please be aware of this. Please ask questions. Now I know. Now I will ask. From now on, if anything comes up, I will know. And I will ask as many questions as possible, and I'll be aware. Oh, how does your pipe come in? You know, and what kind of pan do you have? Or, you know, does the county require this for the second floor? Because apparently it's a county law that if you have a machine on the second floor, you have to have a drain pan. Okay, apparently, and I'm sure if there's an overflow or something, then that way it doesn't ruin the carpet and it doesn't go down the second floor. It is a necessity. Okay, I can see the necessity of it, but once again, that should have been a requirement. So anyway, that's my PSA for the day, and for hopefully, well, there's a few other things coming up, some more serious topics that I'm going to be talking about, more story times that I think are important. And anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.